Happy New Year to all. It is 2023, and we get right back to work. Week 17 of the NFL season awaits. A mere 2 hours until kickoff. It is great to see all you guys. The chat is popping. Verl video in the house says your free money lock of the day. Brady to throw an interception at plus 105. There's Joe Ortner. Justin Irvin says, Happy New Year's, guys. Let's start the year off right. Jedi for Life says, may all your ROIs be better than last year. Let's get that cash. Beautifully put. Professor Chris says, Happy 2023. Says his birds are going to clinch today. Very exciting game, that one, by the way. And Lattimore going to be in the lineup after a long wait for him. He's going to be back in action. Olave will be playing as well. Gerald Jones ready to get to work. Best bet for Gerald Jones. New York Giants first half -3 for Gerald Jones. There's Nathan Bear, North Ender, the Nuke Worker, Teflon Don, Fat Wally, Rocco Rogers, Ron Walsek says perfect weather in Tampa. The only sound of wind is Tom Brady's breaking wind while throwing an interception. There it is from Ron Walsek. All right. Okay. Raymond Reichart, Dabby Cab in the house. He's on Memphis first half -1.5 in college basketball. If anybody's making moves there. Burn one ready to get to work. Bama Boy, Javon Johnson, B-Ball 619, RVD 420, Mikey P, Mr. Heat, Imp 13, Bo Jackson. Let's get to work. Quick breakdown of the situation here. I have 10. You heard me, 10 bets. And last night, late, maybe I should say early, I doubled down on the Ravens. That's what I did. I doubled down on the Ravens going up against, see the ticket count right now. It's very big on Pittsburgh. Let's see, it is 70% of the tickets and 78% of the cash. Yeah, they're playing better. Who'd they play against? The Raiders and the Falcons? Give me Huntley. Give me the Ravens. That's our live bet stream game, too. So I'm coming in with a double down. So the Kraken will be flowing. This is my action here left. Miami, New England under 42 at -110. Patriots -2.5 at -110. Giants -5 at -110. Carolina, Tampa Bay, first half under 19.5. -105. That's available at plus 100. I know other cappers who got and paid for the 20.5. San Francisco Raiders over 44.5. That was a great bet when Derek Carr was a quarterback. That got up to 46 until Stidham was announced and dropped to 41.5. We'll see where it is now. It was 42.5 on Friday. Jets, Seahawks under 42. Vikings plus 3.5. Vikings team total over 21.5. And then I moved on the Commanders and Ravens yesterday, and then I doubled down on the Ravens. Jay Rowe, ready to get to work. Carlos Jetton, Joey Harb, Sky Nevea, Burgundy Betts Creekman, Jonathan Yim. So we are waiting for our first capper to join the show. I'm sure he will be here shortly. He is our leader. He's our champ. And he did retweet the show, so I know he's around. He is sitting 71-51 plus 14.7 units in first overall here. And he has 8 games. And I've given him a little bit of extra time. We have 6 cappers on. So we have a couple cappers, our first 2 cappers who hit hard and have many games. And we have them all ready to go. Why don't we, while we're waiting, take a second to look at the line moves on my action and where the cash lies. And then we'll see if Bobano is here. If not, we will slip to our second capper who's already ready to go. I can see him in the back raring to go. So we'll move on to him if need be. We'll give Bobano a couple more minutes because he does have a hard out. At noon, Miami, New England under 42. Right now, if you wanted to move on that, you would get 40.5. Now, that's slightly juiced to the over, so that makes me feel good about that. The Patriots on a side right now are getting close to -3. So close to -3. I got the 2.5 -110. It's juiced pretty heavy over at Pinnacle. So then we'll move on to the Giants. We got Bobano setting up, so he's about to be ready to rock here. The Giants 5.5s across the board. I got the 5. feels a little good, too good to be true. And we say that in certain spots. And I'm a little nervous about it. Carolina, Tampa Bay, first half under 19.5. I already told you guys the situation there. I've been monitoring it closely. The Jets, Seattle, under 42 total that I'm on. Well, this here is now at 43 or 43.5. That is not good. That is not good. Vikings plus 3.5 that I'm on right now, sitting at, and we'll go over all these with our cappers picks, but the Vikings action is sitting at, that 3 is at plus 104 at Pinnacle. So it's still sort of a 3.5 over there. Commanders minus 2 right there. Commanders minus 2 has moved to 2.5 at Pinnacle. Bet 365, but not the other books yet. And the Ravens minus 2 for tonight's game has moved to 2.5 at Pinnacle, but there's still a 1.5 at Bookmaker and BetChris. So there's still a lot to figure out there. Great to see all you guys. Ricardo Gutierrez, James saying have the Colts quit. We will talk about that. There's Nate Dogg 420 wishing us all a happy new year. Clint started diehard MMA podcast. We got Tara Walker, Tasha Blank. Let's get to work. Let's bring on your first guest. The last 2 weeks, week 15 and week 14, as we were off for week 16, he went a combined 16-8 plus 7.3 units. He has got a healthy lead right now on second place. The capper trying to catch him for the title was last year's champion, the Big Ragu, who is 9 units back. A lot of work to do to catch this man. Please welcome from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Ian Cameron. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
Happy New Year, everybody. It's a new year. It's a new, if you've had a bad NFL season so far, it's a new year. You've got to look at it as it's time to get going and time to turn things around. But looking forward to it.
I'm excited too. Justin McElvey, I did double down sitting and thinking on it. We have a couple cappers moving on the game as well, so we're going to be able to talk about it more. But and let's see, does Bobano talk about it? Do you have the Ravens Steelers?
I do.
Okay, perfect. Yes, you close on it. Perfect. Okay, let's get to work. We start at 1 p.m. Eastern with Bobano. The Chicago Bears 3-12, 1-6 on the road. The Detroit Lions 7-8, 4-4 at home. We're at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. The Bears have not their wide receivers have been hurt. Claypool practiced this week. First time he's practiced since week 13. So we're going to see if he's going to go in. Equanimus St. Brown cleared concussion protocol. So they are in a little bit of a better situation. For the Detroit Lions, Frank Ragnow was limited in practice, so he's going to start. They need him badly. That's a big, big boost for them. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We are getting started with the Bears and the Lions. The Lions opened up minus 4.5. They're now at minus 5.5. They were at minus 6 for most of the week. That 4.5 went to 6 really quickly and were there all week. When did they move to 5.5? They moved to 5.5 at Pinnacle at 4:57 p.m. yesterday. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 51.5. It's now at 52.5. There's been an 8-cent move to the under at 52.5 in the last hour. But we were talking heavily about moving on the over in this game a lot. Take it away for us, Bobano. Your first game on the board, Bears-Lions.
Yeah, for me, it's not maybe taking a move on the over. It is making a move on the over. I do like a lot of points here in this game. You're certainly, I think, back home for the Lions. One thing we've seen consistently for Detroit is, look, last week was just, you knew at some point the Lions were going to have that hit the wall spot and things weren't going to go their way. They had been playing great football. I was hoping it wouldn't be last week, but it was last week. And the people that thought last week it would happen against Carolina and took Carolina as a result, good credit to them. One thing we see from the Detroit Lions, though, on their home field pretty consistently has been them scoring a bunch of points. This offense with Jared Goff working extremely well. 27 against Miami. They did only score 15 in a home game against Green Bay. That was more of an anomaly. And then the last 3 home games, 25 against a very good Buffalo team, 40 against Jacksonville, and 34 against Minnesota. So, this team has had no problem scoring points here on their home field. I expect them to do this here today, once again, against a bottom tier Chicago Bears defense. I mean, that is what we're dealing with now with them on the defensive side of the football. They are a bottom feeder defensively. They can't stop anything through the air, on the ground. And I think the Lions will put up their share of points. But what did we see from Detroit last week? We suddenly saw some vulnerability against the run. That was shocking to see Foreman and Chubbard Hubbard, I should say, Juba Hubbard, just chew up that Detroit run defense. I mean, it was alarming. And the one thing Chicago does, well, the only thing they do offensively is run the football. Usually quarterback runs with Justin Fields. Believe it or not, even though I like the over here, I think Justin Fields over rushing yards is probably a very good prop in this game because after what I saw from the Lions, it does look like they might have some trouble containing him. So I think Chicago will move the ball. They'll get enough points. I see this in the 35-21, the 35-28 vicinity in favor of Detroit. So I like the over here, 52.5.
Over 52.5 at -107. I've been staring at
I know
it.
Hubbard. I combined the two.
I've been staring at this all week. By the way, at this point, Sports Insights has given 4 different spots on the board, full line value, and we'll talk about that throughout here. Chicago's one of those teams. So we've known Sharps have been on Chicago all week. That didn't.
I am on Detroit too. I'm not making Detroit official. It's a very small play. The bigger one for me is the total here.
I hear you. Yeah. 48% of tickets, 89% of the cash. So an enormous amount of cash on the Bears. It's been that way all week. I was waiting for the books to show some sort of fear, and they finally moved it a half point. I don't know if that's fear, but something. And then 67% of tickets are on the over and 45% of the cash. So, and we just saw that 8-cent move. I don't know if I think I've got a ton of action, so I think I'm going to stay on the fence, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it. Next up for Bobano is a game that I have hit hard. Miami Dolphins 8-7, 3-5 on the road. New England Patriots 7-8, 3-4 at home. Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. 54 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 13 mile per hour winds. It's pretty warm on the eastern seaboard, and it's pretty warm. And then there's some wind at some spots here. As we know, Tagovailoa out, but and Eric Fisher doubtful, the first overall pick that they picked up when Armstead got hurt. But they have a bunch of injuries. Now we're expecting these guys to play, but man, Teron Armstead added a hip to his list of ailments. So it's toe, pectoral, knee, and hip. Bradley Chubb, ankle and hand, Xavier Howard, knee, very important pieces. For the Patriots, though, Marcus Jones, who has been a revelation at times this year with his speed, is out with a concussion. So they have Jack Jones and Marcus Jones both out, and that hurts. That hurts a great deal. So let's take a look at the line history. I am on the Patriots -2.5 and the under 42. This line is still at 2.5, but it's juiced to -114. We have seen a couple threes out there. And from a total side of things, this has dropped to 40.5, which makes me feel good. Take it away, Bobano. The floor is yours. Dolphins, Patriots.
I'm on the other side of this one, Jimmy, believe it or not. I like the Miami side, +3, -115, and especially with the threes popping up. I really like not really like, but I like them now at the number with Miami. I think there's problems with New England. I mean, when you lose the way you did against Las Vegas, you're supposed to come back the next week and and make amends and be ready to put your foot in the ground and say, that's not going to define our season. We're better than this. We're going to bounce back strong. We're playing a good, tough Cincinnati team at home, but we're going to come out ready to play. And it couldn't have been further from the truth. They weren't ready. Now, they did rally. They did show life in the second half, and they nearly came back and won that game. But again, fumble late inside the 10-yard line, and they lose all over again. And that's what this comes down to for me. You've got New England that has been totally unable to find ways to finish football games the last 2 weeks. And now you're asking them to lay a field goal here in this game against a Miami team that, look, is Teddy Bridgewater able to do the things Tua Tagovailoa can do? Obviously not. Does he have the arm Tua does? No. But we also have to keep in mind Tua has been playing very average the last few weeks, making mistakes, not throwing the ball as effectively as he did several weeks ago when they were ripping off big points every single week. Teddy Bridgewater can't have that arm strength Tua does. But what he is an experienced NFL quarterback who started a bunch of games in this league, who has a long-term 60+% ATS cover rate on the road as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Go out there, don't make mistakes. The New England defense hasn't been nearly as good the last couple weeks, and navigate the offense and don't put them in bad situations with turnovers. Hopefully that experience and that veteran leadership can help them with that. And on the defensive side of the football, look, I'm going to dare Mac Jones to do things offensively consistently for 4 quarters. Yeah, he gave you 2 pretty good quarters last week. He needs 4 if they're going to win this game. And I haven't seen that from them or him or the Pats offense the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, a lot of money on New England, lots of it, and a big move toward them. But now at the penultimate number, the best number that's been available all week with Miami, I like the Dolphins now getting a field goal.
You have company. It's 49% of the tickets, 56% of the cash. So now Sports Insights has given them the fifth highest, line value here. I don't know how important that is. 75% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. I've looked at Bridgewater as a pretty old, 30 years old.
Lots of injuries. He's had a lot of setbacks health-wise. There's no doubt. Can't deny that.
But I don't see him looking stronger this year. And I hear you're looking, and you've got good company. And you've got good company with the capper who's coming on next in this spot. And so we'll discuss this further, and we don't need to hammer it too hard here. But I've started believing that the Bengals are the best team in the league.
There's +3, -115 at DraftKings, by the way.
Yeah, I got you locked in there. Yeah. But I've started to believe that the Bengals are the best team in the league. So, and I'm not sure about that, but I'm very close to believing that. And what the Patriots did in the second half, I thought was impressive, regardless of whether it was a look-ahead spot for the Bengals and they took their foot off the gas. And there's lots of storylines you can put behind it. But we go heads up here, Bobano on the Dolphins +3 and -115. I have the Patriots -2.5 and -110. We move on, Bobano. 1 p.m. Eastern, Carolina Panthers 6-9, 1-5 on the road at Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 7-8, 4-4 at home. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And BJ saying I'm all over Bengals tomorrow's home dogs. I've not bet them yet, and there's lots of big bets and sharp money on the Bills. And I'm on the
Bengals in a bunch of teasers. I've got them in teasers at +7.5, multiple teasers. I think they're an excellent teaser.
And we'll be live for that game, Bobano, Big Ragu, and myself tomorrow night.
Pretty sure Joe Burrow has never lost a game at home in his career by more than a touchdown. So I think they're an excellent, excellent teaser.
It's exciting. It's exciting. But let's move on to your action here. Panthers, Bucks, J.C. Horn, most likely done for the season, which is a big it hurts. It hurts badly. The Buccaneers are starting to get some really good news. First off, Ryan Jensen returned to practice. He won't be playing, but that's a big deal. And we expect at this point, Vita Vea at nose tackle and Donovan Smith at tackle, we expect them in the lineup. But we don't know if that will happen, but we expect them into the lineup. Let's move over to the line history here for this one. And this is a big, big game. We have a lot of cappers talking about this spot today on the board. Buccaneers opened up at -3.5. They're at 3.5 right now. That 3.5 was available with no vig. There was times where this was a 3. There was a lot of time when this was a 3. This was a 3 for days. How many days? It was a 3 for up until noon on December 30th. This was a 3. From a total standpoint, though, it opened up at 40. It's now at 40.5. And cash-wise for Buccaneers, Panthers, we have 36,044 tickets in. 62% of the tickets and 76% of the cash is on Carolina. 44% of the tickets, 50% of cash is on the under. So, nobody knows what to do with this total. Let's see how Bobano is hammering aside here. Take it away, Panthers, Bucks.
Yeah, this one I'm on Carolina +3.5. For them, it's a must-win. A must-win doesn't equal will win. That's not why I'm betting Carolina, obviously. For them, though, they do need to win, or else it's over for them. The division hopes, the playoff hopes. But even if they win, they haven't clinched anything yet. It just puts them in the driver's seat. It puts them in the position where they control their own destiny. If they win, regardless of what Tampa Bay does next week, they are the division champions. But at this point in time, I just like getting more than a field goal against an offense I flat out don't trust. And last week was the tipping point for me because I actually, stupid me, laid points with Tampa against Arizona on Christmas weekend. And I said, this is their spot to, get this offense revved up and start to look like a solid offense. But no, instead they're going tooth and nail into overtime with a bad, depleted, out of the playoffs Arizona team, 19-16. They never sniff a point spread cover in that game. It's now 0-5 ATS for Tampa Bay in their last 5 games. I'm done. I've got to see it from Brady. I've got to see it from Mike Evans. I've got to see these receivers hang on to the football. That's been a huge issue, too. A lot of drops from these receivers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lately, and it's killed drives for them repeatedly. And now you got to ask them to lay more than a field goal against a Carolina team that I've been impressed with them the last few weeks, even in the loss against Pittsburgh, 24-16. That game they kept on battling back, and it was a game where even though they started off weak, they kept on coming back. I thought it was very impressive what they did against Detroit. Now, running the football is the concern here for that I have back in Carolina. It's going to be, can they run the football effectively? It's not going to be as easy against Tampa Bay. They still do have they don't have as good a run defense as last year, but still a top 12, top 10 borderline run defense. And if they don't run the football, what can Darnold do? There are concerns there about that, but this is just me. More than a field goal with Tampa Bay. It seems like any win that they have right now has been tighter than can be. 3 of their last 4 wins. I mean, they're only 3-3 in their last 6 games, or 4-3 in their last 7 games. 3 of the 4 wins were by 3 points or less. Like, they are just not winning by margin right now. And this is a huge game in the NFC South, and I have trouble trusting them to win by margin again here today. Jensen being back is significant. They need O-line help. He will help. But again, it's his first game back in a while. Will he be at his absolute best? That remains to be seen. Regardless, I like Carolina here plus 3.5.
And I have in my notes that Jensen won't start till next week.
Oh, he won't? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he's back at practice, but they're holding him till next week. So that's why, Donovan Smith is such a big deal to get him back in, because Jensen not back yet. Panthers plus 3.5 at -108. You are locked in. There's Dommy Gunn, Ricci, Jake Kaiser, Coyne, Harold Williams, Dan Kelly, Gary Tenebra. Dan Kelly says, I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I don't think that Tom Brady is a very good quarterback at this point of his career. Let's move on to the next spot on the board for you, Bobano. San Francisco 49ers, Las Vegas Raiders. Birdie made the point that the Raiders were, letting go of the season before they'd announced that Derek Carr was gone, and he said, smash him. Now, and I didn't. I moved on the over. I screwed this game up. You are the only capper speaking on this game as well, Bobano. So let's not take our time, but, hammer it. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. For the Niners, no Deebo Samuel. He is still out. And, Ayuk and Kittle, we've seen what Kittle's been doing lately. And Samuel and Elijah Mitchell may play in Week 18. We're not entirely sure how it's going. And the Raiders have a really clean injury report. Let's take a look at the line history here. We know once the announcement of Stidham at quarterback and no Carr, this line moved drastically. And it's at 10 right now, or 9.5. I guess there's 9.5s out there as well. From a total perspective, opened up at 43.5, went up to 46, and is now at 41.5, and is juiced to the under. Very uncomfortable with my action on the over at 44.5. 30,518 tickets in. 81% of the tickets, 85% of the cash on the Niners. 48% of the tickets, 78% of cash on the under. So the market expecting the Niners to dominate and the Raiders to not put up enough points to get this over the total. Take it away for us here, Bobano, 49ers Raiders.
Yeah, not only am I the only guest on the show talking this game, I have the side and the total in this game. 49ers and Raiders. I'm laying 9.5 here with San Francisco. I mean, I think stick a fork in Las Vegas. It's done. I think this is a ripple effect with Derek Carr being said, basically get the fuck out. You're done. You're not starting again this year. Go home. I mean, you already saw Devontae Adams. His good buddy wasn't happy. I mean, I think this is just an absolute disaster waiting to happen with the locker room dynamic for the Raiders. Do I trust them to show up today? Hell no. And even if they do show up, San Francisco is capable of pounding this team. I don't see them stopping Brock Purdy, Kittle, McCaffrey, and all the weapons the 49ers have. And even without Deebo Samuel, they've got a ton of weapons. I haven't even mentioned Ayuk yet. I mean, this is not going to be something where the Raiders, and the one thing Purdy's done a great job of getting the ball out quickly. So, yeah, you get concerned maybe of a Max Crosby type for the Raiders, but it's been negated, the quick passing game, any opposing pass rush. So I think the Niners go up and down the field against the Raiders in this game. On the flip side, Jared Stidham. See, the way I see this, because I'm on the Niners, Jimmy, minus 9.5. I'm on the over. I actually am on the over as well at 41. Over 41, minus 102. is the current number and price at Cool Bet right now. So I'm on the over as well. And the way I see it is the 49ers are going to get into the high 20s, if not the 30s in this game. I just need 10 or so from the Raiders. Stidham is not great, but he's been with McDaniels going back to their time in New England. So he knows the playbook probably more than someone in another player in his spot might be. It should help. And even if he stinks, and he might, because this pass rush and this Niners defense could really get after him today, he could throw an interception, a pick six, and there's points the other way, and that helps the over as well. So he either plays decent, puts 14 points on the board, and he can also maybe contribute some points for the Niners with defensive scores because they're just crushing the pocket and they're forcing him into a ton of mistakes. So I like the Niners. And by the way, the Niners are on this 8-game win streak, Jimmy. 6 of the 8 wins by double digits. So in my opinion, don't be concerned about laying the big number. I think they win by doubles here, and I think the game goes over the total.
I can find you a -9 at -108 and the over 41 at -108. Do those both
we'll
work?
do those. Yep.
All right, you are locked in. Look, I would have moved on the over at this number with Stidham if I wasn't already on it, at a worse number, expecting Carr. So I see what you're seeing. And I think that there's an interesting point here made by Sharpie. Of course, Sharpie starring in our show, The Pub Zone, at 1 p.m. And it's a great show to watch. He is you should see the way they do the graphics and the layout, going over the player props, going over the situations. They do a great job on the show. So definitely check it out. And he says this, he says, where did Stidham come from? New England. Don't be surprised if their offense looks better today running McDaniel's offense. God, I hope that's the case because I still don't think they'll be able to beat the Niners, but that would help my over, which I'm very concerned of. All right, Bobano locked in on 49ers -9, -108, and the over 41 at -108. Next up for Bobano, a huge game. We got to speed this up, but we don't need to force things because there are just 6 of us today. Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is a game everybody wants to talk about. Garrett Bradbury, the center for the Vikings, is not playing. He is out. They're giving him more time to rest to ensure that he's going to be healthy for the playoffs, and that's a problem. So Austin Schlottman will get the start at center, and Ezra Cleveland will be on the offensive line. And I don't think that they do this with Garrett Bradbury unless Cleveland was available to play because, he's very much needed. And Bakhtiari back in for the Packers, no injury designation. So that's a good sign for Packers backers. And I know there's a lot of them. This is an interesting spot here. This opened up with Green Bay as 3.5-point favorites. They're 3-point favorites now. I have the Vikings at +3.5. This total's gone from 44.5. It got all the way up to 48.5. It's down to 47.5. I'm also on the Vikings team total over. And look, I understand that the Packers are better statistically in offense and defense and special teams, even though Keyshawn Nixon, he's not, he's got questionable, and he's a huge piece of their special teams. But I've just been watching the Vikings all year long, and I've become a fan of what they're doing. They know how to win. They know how to get points in crunch time. And I think they can stay in. I think the hook was really important. But let's see what Bobano has to say. Take it away, Vikings, Packers.
Yeah, this is again, you're talking about a Minnesota team that this is where they're in close games. This is kind of like the Minnesota Detroit game where Minnesota was all of a sudden an underdog in that game and they ended up losing. I'm on the fence with using Green Bay as an official. I am on the Packers here, -2.5, -130 at ProLine Plus. It's 3, but I decided there was a 2.5 out there. I'd lay the juice to get the 2.5. I don't think I'm going to make that official. I am on the over, and I like that a lot more. I'm going to go ahead with that for sure. So we'll lock that in over 47.5 here, Vikings and Packers. Looks like weather for early January 1st in Green Bay is not going to be terrible. It's going to be decent enough to move the football, and I think both teams will move the football. Simple as that. This Minnesota defense is just not good the more you look at them. They can't hold the lead against the Giants last week when they were trying to protect that lead. They can't, the run and the pass defense has been gashed. And look, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Christian Watson. It's a huge loss. But there's still Romeo Doubs is back, which is a good thing. He is back now with Watson out, Lazard, Cobb, and run the football. They've started to run the football a little bit more with Jones and Dillon, and I think they've got to commit to being definitely more of a balanced offense. No question about that. They've all of a sudden had this late season surge after their bye week, 2 wins, 2 covers against the Rams and the Dolphins. They're still alive in the playoffs, so I think they will move the ball. I think Minnesota will move the ball too because their offense is really good. There's no doubt about that with Cousins and Jefferson and Cook. And all the weapon. Thielen even has shown you some glimpses of turning back the clock and looking great. I mean, there's not much to argue with here in terms of this total. 5 straight overs for Minnesota. 4 of the last 5 head-to-head meetings have gone over the total. So I have Green Bay. I think I'm going to keep that from an official play, but I like the over. That is definitely one of my stronger plays of the day, over 47.5.
Over 47.5 minus 109. Look, I was on the over last week, and we had to wait a little bit for it, but it just seems like a cash cow in Vikings games. And then the weather is balmy considered.
Oh, it's great for January 1st in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah, 37 Fahrenheit, 8-mile-per-hour winds, mostly cloudy. Okay, let's move on. Quick, Rams, Chargers next up for you, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. And the Chargers do have quite a bit to play for. We were trying to figure that all out, but they do, because that 5th seed in the AFC is a nice spot. And it's available if they can win out, basically, or get ahead of the Ravens. So there is quite a bit to play for. Higbee is going to be good to go, and Austin Eckler also good to go. I know there was some concerns about that. Trey Pipkin's also good to go. So a quick line history look here. We have the Chargers opening up at -6, and that's exactly where they are. This line has not moved off the -6 at -109 at Pinnacle. We've seen lots of 6.5. So at other books, 41 it opened at as a pick'em, and there's been it's moved to 41.5. So that's about it. Let's hear what Bobano has to say. Take it away for us, Bobano. Rams, Chargers.
Yeah, I'm on side and total here as well. I believe there's still -6 out there. Yeah, I'm laying points with the Chargers. It can be a scary thing to do, but I am doing that here. -6, -110 at Pinnacle. So there we go. We can get the 6 here with the Chargers. I think this is the Rams coming back down to earth and crashing back down to earth today. Now, you could say maybe a Chargers, short week after clinching the playoff spot against the Colts last week. Maybe they don't have their best, but I really do think this has come back down to earth for Baker Mayfield and the Rams. Yeah, they were good against Denver last week, but Denver quit. Flat out, QUIT. All right, they quit once they fell behind. That was a dead Broncos team. And the Rams were good, but the Broncos were not just bad, they were exceptionally bad. They were embarrassing in that football game. I don't want to give the Rams too much credit for that. They're facing a real football team, a confident football team, a team on both sides of the ball that I think is getting better week after week. If Brandon Staley can just avoid these head-scratching decisions and some of this play calling bothers me with the Chargers, but if they can avoid that, they could actually be a dark horse in the AFC. The talent has always been there for the Chargers this year as one of my big Super Bowl futures before the season. They get everybody healthy. I hope Slater's back at some point on the O-line, but if they start to get everybody healthy, they already have Williams and Allen, the great receivers, back. This can be a dangerous football team in the postseason. I like them here laying 6. I like the over as well. I'm going to take advantage of some of these low totals we're seeing today, and we've got 41 here, -110. At Bet365 with the over. I like that quite a bit. I think the Chargers will do some significant damage offensively. They didn't look great against the Colts. They kind of sputtered a little bit. But I think back home here against this Rams defense, missing so many key pieces on that side of the ball, we'll see that offense get going. And the one thing we've seen from the Rams and Baker Mayfield, even with no Kupp and a lot of key offensive players out, he's still got Tutu Atwell and Higbee, the tight ends, played well. They've still been able to move the football a little bit. So I think the total gets over a very low 41.
I'm with you. I have the Chargers futures to win the AFC and win it all from the beginning of the year as well, which should become a little bit more exciting as we're here. Over 41, I can get you -105 at 5 dimes, -6 at -109 at Pinnacle, and Bobano is in. Here we go. The Sunday nighter. I can't wait to be part of this show tonight. Live bet stream it. I have doubled up now on the Ravens pregame, and we'll be looking to attack a couple different things live. But let's hear what our man Bobano has to say about this. M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland, 48 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 1 mile per hour. And there's a chance that Calais Campbell will play. Marcus Peters won't. We know Lamar Jackson won't. And Larry Ogunjobi, we're still waiting on. But important. And Deontay Johnson going to be in the lineup, healthy to go for the Steelers. Line history-wise, this opened up with the Ravens -4 because there was a chance or a thought that maybe Lamar would play. It's -2.5 or -2, depending on where you shop. I got in on the 2. This total opened up at 36.5, dropped to 35.5. For me, very quickly with the Steelers, obviously I spoke off the top that I just don't respect their opponents the last 2 weeks. They were able to look good offensively, but still they averaged, 17 points over their last 3 games, even though they've been putting up yards. And I don't trust Pickett in the red zone. And if they can move the ball all they want, now they're going into Baltimore with a ton on the line. And I just think that we're getting a beautiful price on the Ravens here. And the Steelers have become a very public dog. Maybe I shouldn't have doubled up on it, intoxicated last night, but I was sitting here thinking about this game for hours. Take it away, Bobano. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm on that public dog for better or worse, and that's Pittsburgh +2 is the best number out there right now. I don't trust this Baltimore offense right now. It really, I mean, the Atlanta game last week, even that one, it was rough. I mean, they got outgained by 28 yards. They won 17-9, but boy, it was a slog for them to move the football. I mean, Huntley, 9 completed passes, 115 passing yards. It really didn't run the football all that great. They're very fortunate Atlanta's offense was every bit as anemic in that game, and that's what, Pittsburgh is definitely a teaser leg too, Clint, no question. Pittsburgh's a teaser leg. Cincy's a teaser leg. Cleveland's a teaser leg. They're all very good teaser legs, in my opinion, this week, those 3 teams. But, yeah, this one, when I look at it, I think it's a situation here where I like Kenny Pickett and the way the offense is going. It was kind of a struggle against the Raiders on Christmas Eve night. It was Christmas Eve night last week. But they found a way, put the drive together when they needed to. And I don't think they're going to need to be great because I think that Pittsburgh defense is going to keep Baltimore's offense under wraps. It's going to be a close game. Let's be honest. I mean, it always is, it seems, with these 2 teams. Who's going to make the critical play? Who's going to move the ball? Who's going to put that drive together to win the game? I trust the Steelers offense right now more, and Pickett more than I trust Tyler Huntley and what I've seen out of the Ravens. And revenge spot for Pittsburgh. And they're still alive, believe it or not. A faint pulse for the playoffs. So I like Pittsburgh here +2. And I really like them in a teaser up to 8, 8.5.
Do you want the 2.5 at -113?
Yes.
You got it. That's available at Pinnacle. Right.
And I want to add one more play before I head out. And because
sure,
I didn't have
just
this
before
game on
you
my
do
card.
go, I want to just touch on. I didn't give the stats for the cash for that game.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's a big one. 71% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on Pittsburgh. So you have a lot of company. Then 60% of the tickets, 73% of the cash on the under. That's dropped a point. Okay, yeah. What's the addition?
The addition is, and this game was not on my list, but it's Colts versus Giants. I'm laying the 5.5 with the Giants. I've decided I'm going to make that official. I mean, the only fear I have is I hate laying more than a field goal with this bunch. But the one time I did, it was them laying 5. I believe it was a home game against the Houston Texans. And they did win and they did cover in that game. And I kept thinking about that just prior to jumping on the show. Like, they did win and cover laying this kind of number more than a field goal against the Texans. Why can't they do that against this Colts team? They look dead. They look horrendous. I can't for the life of me figure out why Jeff Saturday's sticking with Nick Foles and not giving Sam Ellinger a shot. Foles looks shot. I mean, let's be honest. He looks absolutely brutal Monday night against the Chargers. I said the Giants are playing for everything here. Colts look like they just want to end the season. So I'm adding the Giants here, laying the points.
You got it. Giants on your card -5.5, -109. Steelers +2.5, -113. Chargers -6.
And I've been the Giants fan club president all year on the NFL Pub.
You have been. No, you have been and been richly rewarded for that. Over 41 at -105 as well in Rams. Chargers. He's on the over 47.5 in Vikings. Packers. He's on the over 41 in Niners. Raiders. And the Niners -9 at -108. The Panthers +3.5 at -108. Dolphins +3 at -115. And the over 52.5 -107 in Bears. Lions. Bobano, thank you for rolling with us. You've been spectacular this year here. 71-51 plus 14.7 units, a 9-unit lead right now heading into week 17 for the title. That is
and I'm trying to make this a real championship victory on the show this year. You would think you got a huge lead, Ian. How about you keep it to 2 or 3 plays this week, right? Oh. Hell no. We've been high volume all year. We're going out that way as well.
Ted Williams out there. Great job, Ragu. Much love. We will talk. Oh, sorry. Great job, Babano. Sorry, it was a bit of sauce last night. Great job, Babano.
That's all of us. Yeah.
Spectacular work. Thank you for rolling with us. Have a giant day, and I will be in touch, my friend.
Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy the games and good luck.
There he is, Bobano, coming to us from Hamilton, Ontario. We stay in Ontario for our next capper, 27 and 28 plus 0.91 units. He's come very close to big scores. He goes after them with his parlays, and he has had our biggest week so far of any capper, and that was a week 11. He was up 5.45 units. Here to rock with us right now, coming to us from Kingston, Ontario. Please welcome to the show, Birdie. Birdie, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well. How are you?
I am good. Happy New Year to you and your fam.
Same to you. Same to everybody out there. Hope everybody had a good night.
I'm looking forward to fire away. So we've done a lot of the line history and injuries, so we can just basically hear your capping on most of these spots, except for the spots that we haven't discussed yet. So first off, for you, Birdie, Dolphins, Patriots, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts, 54 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13 miles per hour. Of course, Tua Tagovailoa out, and injuries that the Dolphins are dealing with, but we are not entirely sure about Teron Armstead and Bradley Chubb. Very important.
Just read it.
Armstead is out.
Yeah.
And I hear some disappointment.
Yeah. Is that line moving by chance?
Well, let's take a look at it right now.
It should be moving right now. If it isn't, I'm happy.
It's moving right now.
Yeah.
So the Pinnacle, just see what they just did. They just moved it. So it's moved 11 cents in the last 30 minutes at Pinnacle.
Okay.
So it's now 2.5 minus 123.
Oh, okay. All right. It hasn't jumped to 3 everywhere yet?
Not everywhere, but it looks like that's coming. We see threes at Bovada, Bodog, Bookmaker, Bet Chris, 5 dimes. And the Bet 365 has the Patriots minus 2.5 and minus 125.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel a little better. Listen, the bottom line here is it's not so much the injuries that Miami have. They have a bunch. For me, this is about the secondary injuries for New England. A lot gets made about the quarterback change between Tua and Bridgewater, but they're essentially the same guy in reality. Andy says it on your Tuesday show so often that when you have Waddle and you have Hill, all you need to do is throw the ball 5 yards and let those two animals go run. What's unfortunately for New England, with those injuries in the secondary, it's going to stop the pass rush just a little bit. And thank goodness, because that offensive line is hurt and there is a danger here now. I don't recommend tailing this at this point because of the injuries, but I'm going to stick with the play. I think we see New England probably just try to rush 4 all game. So my hope is that that Miami coach will at least put a little tight end support in there, give Bridgewater a little time, and we'll be able to cover this +3. I do think that those injuries in the secondary for New England is very big in this game because it changes the way they have to defend. And it just, whenever you're putting second, third, fourth string guys to stop 2 of the best receivers in the league, the chances for big plays are there. So I'll stick with the +3. I also would like to add Teddy Bridgewater over 6.5 rushing yards in this game at 110.
Let's get that for you. So that's the Dolphins +3. And what was the Bridgewater look?
Over 6.5 rushing yards.
Over 6.5 rushing yards. And that was minus 110, or was that
minus 110?
Minus 110. All right, that's locked in. Bridgewater over 6.5 rush yards. Let's see what the best line we can get you on the 3 is. You'd think that juice would come down. Yes, I can get you a +3 at minus 110.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, minus 110. And you're right. The one quarterback that we think or we know can run with Tyreek and with Waddle is out, and that's Marcus Jones. He's the one guy who has the speed to run with them. All right, let's keep rolling for you, but we have Birdie on the board. Dolphins +3, Bridgewater over 6.5. There's Nutflush Allen coming to us live from Las Vegas, having an incredible trip. We love you and giving love to you as well, Birdie. Great that you're having such a fun time, Mike. A lot of us live vicariously through you.
That's so true. Jesus. Every time I hit refresh, it's like, fuck. I wish I was there.
Next up for you, Colts, Giants, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. So we just had our Bobano added. Felt like he had to add it, and you pushed me to adding it on Tuesday. And I'm fine with that. I just feel like some of these spots are too look too good to be true. Make me nervous. Xavier McKinney had his 21-day practice window open, but he won't be activated from the IR. Adoree Jackson is doubtful right now. Game time decision. Azeez Ojulari will play, and that's a big deal. Colts are pretty healthy, but they have Nick Foles at quarterback. Take it away for us, Birdie. Colts, Giants.
Yeah, I'm sticking away from the spread here because there is variance. I am on the Giants money line and a money line parlay. I still think the Giants are the play here. Last week, the Colts start Foles. Why do they start Foles? Because Foles has 4 practice days, walkthrough days with the ones. He gave them the best chance to lose last week, and we saw it. I mean, if you really wanted to win the game and you wanted to make a change from what's the kid's name? Matty Ice. You go with Ellinger, who's worked with the ones, who's worked in the offense, who's had some experience with that group of guys that you're going to war with. And no, they didn't. They went with Foles. There's no way the Colts are going to put themselves in a situation that they can win this game. They didn't last game. It's just not going to happen. And then publicly after the Minnesota game, after that collapse, I said it on your show, Ian Rappaport comes out in a tweet and says the Colts have decided to look to next year. Well, when those guys send that stuff out, they just don't send that stuff out. I mean, you got to be careful who you watch, but I trust Rappaport. So that's an internal decision by the Colts, which tells you they are looking at next year, and they want the highest draft pick they can get this year, and they're in a position to get a really good draft pick. I mean, if Lovie Smith does what Lovie Smith does and fucks over the Texans and wins these next 2 games, the Colts can make a significant jump. If the Bears win today, the Colts make a significant jump in that draft, and you got to be looking at that stuff. So I really think the Giants do win this one running away. But for me personally, I can get a better number with tying it up in a money line parlay, and that's what I'm going to do.
So we will talk about your additions to that parlay here shortly because that comes in now at the end. But you touched on the Jaguars-Texans game, and that's next up. So I know you like the Jaguars here, but you think that Lovie Smith could mess this up. I'm shocked that Trevor Lawrence, who's been battling the toe injury, is going to be in, but Peterson, I guess, wants to keep the winning happening here. So why don't you touch on your look here? Energy Stadium, Houston, Texas, Jacksonville, Houston.
Sure. I do like the Jags. I'm taking the Jags -3, and I'm tying them in, I believe, a parlay, right, Jimmy? I think I have them in.
Yeah, I have it all here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a situation where the Texans fired their coach last year because he went 2-2 the last 4 games and lost the #1 overall pick. I mean, they had a horrible coach last year, a coach that did exactly what they wanted to do until the end of the year, and he wins 2 of his last 4, loses the first overall pick, so they fire him. So I don't see Lovie making this mistake this year. I pray that he doesn't. I really don't see this happening. If the Texans are within 7 points ever in this game, other than when the ball's snapped, they should fire him mid-game. I mean, that's the reality of it. So I'll speak from coaching experience. It's not football, it's hockey. But when you take over a team that struggles, what you're trying to do, and you hear it all the time, is change the culture. So what does that mean? Well, when you're in a bad culture, it means you play inconsistently. You can look good one game and then look bad for next 3. That's what the Jags have been. They're trying to change that culture. They're trying to get a winning atmosphere in that organization. And yes, making the playoffs this year is very important. But next year, the year after, 4 years down the line, they don't want to be in this I'm changing the culture conversation after this year. And unfortunately, it's games like this for them that they have to take serious. Because if you look at what they've done throughout the season, you can classify their season as inconsistent. So many high-level sharps were on these guys because their numbers were so good, but they didn't know how to win. And they were inconsistent. They were in a bad culture. But we've seen that start to move. We're actually starting to see Lawrence play top-level football. And in the National Football League, if you're an elite quarterback and you're a leader, you play through injury. This is absurd all this, we need to rest, to worry. It's just absurd. He's a third-year quarterback or a second-year quarterback trying to take a locker room over as its leader, and you're going to just sit the guy because he's got a sore fucking toe? Give me a break. I think the Jags roll here, and there are, I think, some subtle, crazy opportunities if they win this game that if things roll their way next week and they happen to lose, they can still make the playoffs. If it's me as a gambler, I want to keep as many outs as possible as well, which also factors in. I just think this is a game, as an organization, they need to take serious and they need to win. And if you remember back when Peterson was coaching in Philadelphia, they made him throw that week 17 game or 18 game that let the fucking Washington make the playoffs. And that basically was his end in Philly. He wanted no part of that. And he's just not a coach that's going to do that, because he knows it's not so much about today. It's about 3 years from now. And this game is very important.
I love it. I love it. A great breakdown, Bertie. There's no threes available anymore.
So just 3.5s?
Yeah, 3.5 minus 105 at bet.
Yeah, I'll take it, because I honestly don't think this game's going to be close. In reality, the Texans can't allow it to be close.
We have to speed up here, Bertie, my man.
Nonsense.
Next up for you, you have Rams, Chargers, and we already talked a little bit about the situation here. The main things, Higbee is in for the Rams. Brian Allen is out, and of course, Aaron Donald's not coming back. And that's Derwin James is still out with the concussion from that hit last week that he delivered, and Austin Eckler is good to go. Take it away for us here. Your thoughts, Rams, Chargers.
I'm going to take the Rams plus 6.5. I think what people are missing here with the Rams, if you look at how they played since Baker came over, we don't know what Stafford's going to do. So I think it's the Rams are taking these games very seriously because they want to know what they have in Baker to make that decision for next year in case they have to. They have no draft pick, so it doesn't matter. They're not protecting anything by losing. They're playing these games with a purpose, and I'm happily taking the 6.5 if we can get it. Otherwise, I'll take the 6. I do also think the Rams are live money line here. Sorry, I'll just finish this quick. Like I said with the Eagles 2 weeks ago when they went and played the Bears, why we took the Bears, same situation here. Young coach, young quarterback, making the playoffs for the first time. It's meaningful. As much as they want to say it's not, it's very meaningful. I think it's a good spot with the Rams team that's playing pretty well.
Yeah, you got it. You are locked in there. Big thank you to Arthur Mead Jr. for the dono. Thank you for thinking of us, my
You're the
friend.
man, Arthur.
Yeah, great guy. Happy New Year to you. Ski talked about it when Bobano gave out the other side. He said Chargers 40.5% against the spread as a favorite of 3+. Last 5 years, 60% straight up, but says not their role to lay 3 or more. Next up for you is your first parlay piece here. You have a money line parlay, and it starts with a team in the Panthers, Buccaneers. So we've already discussed the situation here. So why don't you talk to us about your parlay piece?
Okay, so I like the Bucks in this game. I'm going to take the Bucks. Am I on the spread here with them?
No, you have Bucks money line and Falcons money line as a parlay.
Okay, I'm going to take the points out of this because the Bucks are a bit inconsistent, but they find a way to win games. So I'm just going to tie this in with a money line parlay at a better price.
And thank you to Chiefs Kingdom. Thank you for thinking of us. You are using the Bucks in a money line parlay with the next team and also your 3-team parlay at the very end. So talk to us about the next spot on your money line parlay that ties with the Bucks. That's Arizona Cardinals, Atlanta Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium here. We know that Colt McCoy is out again with the concussion. They're not going to Trace McSorley. It's Dave Blau who will be getting an opportunity, 4th starting quarterback for the Cardinals this year. And it looks like Hopkins is like, look, I'm done. I'm out. Yeah. I'm out.
I think he'll play next week, to be honest.
It's wild. So let's just touch on, we haven't touched on this game yet, I don't believe. So let's just talk of the line history quickly here. This opened up with Atlanta minus 3.5. They're 7s now on the board. And the total wise here opened up at 40. It's now at 41. And then cash-wise for this one, we have – they've given, even at this price, Atlanta Falcons line value. But 54% of the tickets and 69% of the cash is on Arizona. And I get it. 75% of the tickets, 76% cash on the under. You never know. I could get talked into trying to see if the Falcons can win by 7+. But talk to us about your money line parlay piece.
Yeah, early in the week when I thought McCoy was playing, I definitely like this Atlanta Falcons money line as opposed to the points. I think we probably missed our window. If anything, I think the cards probably now are a play at +7. I couldn't lay that with the Falcons. Listen, I do like Ritter. I think he's showing improvement. If you watched that game last week against the Ravens, the wrong team won. Unfortunately, some tough penalties in the red zone kind of cost the Falcons a win there. That seems to be the story for them when they get in the red zone. I'm happy with the Falcons money line, with the Bucks money line. I'm a bit worried now. Can we, because this has moved so much, can you please look Falcons 2.5 with the Bucks money line just to try to get a better price for people?
Definitely, but you are getting a +104.
Oh, okay. As long as we're still getting plus, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're
with
getting
that.
plus.
Okay.
+104
Perfect.
is the money line parlay available right now on Bucks Falcons. So +104 there. Let's keep moving, and we got to be brisk here. Next up for you, you have a parlay, two-team parlay, and you start in Saints Eagles. And there's not a lot of cappers talking about this spot here. It's a tricky one because the sharps have been all over the Saints all week. Lattimore and Olave are in. And to give you an idea of how much they're on them, it is right now we have 53,382 tickets in, 35% of the tickets and 81% of the cash. And the Saints have been given full line value for this spot. And then from a line history standpoint, when Lattimore was announced in, we saw it move to 5. Right now, it's right at 5. There are a couple 5.5s on the board. Take it away for us here. Money line parlay piece for you.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the Eagles money line. It's a game that the organization wants to win. They don't have to win it by 7. They just need to win the game. They hold this first pick with the Saints, and the implied value of a 7th overall pick to a 13th or 14th overall pick is very meaningful for that organization. Their coach talked about it this week in an interview. They want to win this game. They can rest or do whatever they need to do next week. But I honestly suspect that they're even going to play next week because they've got that bye week. They're going to lock in this bye week. I'm happy with the money line here in a game that the organization wants to win, and the coach has been in the public saying the exact same thing.
You are using it with a spread on the Vikings Packers,
yes.
And we've already discussed that situation. So talk to us about your look here.
Yeah, I just like the Vikings here. I think the Packers are starting to get a bit overvalued here. They've won a few games. I mean, they beat the Rams at home in just horrible, cold weather. And then they beat Tua last week in Miami, and Tua saw 4 guys, and unfortunately, he didn't throw to the correct one in the middle that he was seeing. We found out he was concussed going into that second half, and he sure played like it. So they've been in couple advantageous spots. The weather's going to be fine here today. There's been a lot of talk this week with Alexander and Jefferson. And I just think the Vikings are going to show up here. The Vikings have been underrated all year. I underrated them big time most of the year. I mean, they haven't been great at necessarily covering spreads. And I know we're going to see some numbers here as dogs. They're not very good, but I'm happy taking the Vikings here in a game that I think they're pissed off in. This is a divisional game. I will caution people playing the over here. In a divisional game with all this trash talk, I just feel like the Packers themselves don't score and they play decent defense. If the Packers are going to stay in this game, they can't get in a shootout. I know it looks that way on paper, they can, but they really can't because their offense just isn't capable, especially without Watson, of putting up 35 points if they have to. It's just not a game because the Vikings can stop the run. And you're going to ask Dobbs, you're going to ask Cobb and a 60-year-old Mercedes Lewis to score you 35 points. I would caution on the over.
Do you want the Vikings +3 or +3.5?
I'll take the 3.5.
Okay, then that's a +163 parlay with the
Perfect.
Eagles money line. Then you close up with the 3-team parlay, the Rams +6.5. So let's lock this in for you while we're doing this right now. The Rams plus 6.5, and we've already discussed all these spots. So it's Rams. Sorry, let me get this up here. Rams plus 6.5. Let me move this over because it's got the 6 there. 6.5. And you are tying that with the Jags minus 3, which is now a 3.5.
I'll take the 3.5. Yep.
Because you can make it a 3 if you want, because it's a 3-team parlay.
No, we'll take the 3.5. We'll take the best numbers for everybody.
So Jags minus 3.5, and then the Buccaneers money line, and that is a minus 195. So your 3-team parlay is the Rams plus 6.5, Jags minus 3.5, and the Buccaneers money line. That parlay comes in. What is it at plus? Sorry, here at plus 463.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry I'm going to do this, but I want to add Panthers team total under 16.5 plus 105, and that's at Bet365.
You got it. Panthers team total under 16.5 plus 105. I added to that 3-team parlay we just spoke of. Eagles money line, Vikings plus 3 at plus 163. And then he's got the Bucks money line, Falcons money line at plus 104. He's on the Rams plus 6.5 minus 108. The Jaguars minus 3.5 at minus 105. And he's on the Dolphins plus 3 at minus 110. And Teddy Bridgewater over 6.5 rush yards. Birdie, another spectacular job here. Have yourself a giant week. And it is fun watching you blossom here. Capping on camera with us. We're very proud to have you on screen. So another great job, Birdie, and
Thank
get
you.
that cash. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
Happy New Year. Appreciate every one of you. It's always a fucking blast to be on here. Let's get that fucking money. Love you, mister.
I love you too, buddy. I love you too. We move on. We go from Kingston, Ontario to Brooklyn, New York. Your next capper, he's feast or famine here on our show. He opened week 1. He went 3-0. He swept the board. Then week 3, he had the opposite. He went 0-3. And week 5, he went 0-3. And then he was focusing on college football. And we're like, you know what? We'll let you do that. You know, why don't you focus on college football? Then he is dominating our cappers contest. He now leads the cappers contest. If he was in the Circa Millions, he'd be in the top 50 of the Circa Millions. So we brought him back. We brought him back for week 14, and he sweeps the board again. 4 and will it be feast or will it be famine? I tell you what it will be. Peter Loshak, the legend in the house. Peter, how are you, my friend?
I was doing. Did you say? Is that true, Jim? If I was in Circle Millions, I would be top 50.
Yeah, I said. I didn't even mean to say that because I said to Jose. I said, let's not tell Pete.
You know, when I was in Vegas right before the season started, I was hanging out with Lily Gunn, and she was like, "Why don't you enter the Circle Millions contest?" I was like, "I don't want to enter the. Are you serious? Top 50?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long? How deep do they pay? Oh, we don't have time for that. We don't have time.
They pay top 100. You're still gonna win ours. Oh, we have to keep that sound effect, Jose. Can you timestamp? We need to keep that sound effect.
You want me to do another one to a second take if you want? Yeah, how deep do they pay?
Top 100.
What can I do? No, you know what? I'm thankful just to be able to, I don't even care how I'm doing in our content. I'm thankful for all the Pub Sports Radio family out there and for you, Jimmy the Bag. I'm just thankful to be able to hang out with you guys every week and every month and every year. Hell yeah. That's what I care about.
We love you, Pete. We love you. Let's go. You're coming off sweeping the board 4-0 in week 14 here on the show. And that makes you 7-6 plus 0.46 units, currently in 10th of 21 cappers. Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans is where you start. We've discussed this and can't wait to hear your take. So the floor is yours, Pistol Pete Loshak.
So one final, so are you telling me that out of all these fucking jerk-off, fraud, asshole, fuckface, pseudo sharp cap, none of those motherfuckers could, only 49 or fewer of them could do better than me right now in the contest setup? Yeah, what happened to all these sharps? All these like Fezzik. Well, how's Fezzik doing this year? What happened to all those guys?
You're the sharp.
All right, okay, all right. Enough joking around, enough bullshitting around. All right, so what are we doing now? Jags? Yeah, I don't know. And it's ironic because every week I really have no clue what the hell I'm doing here. I make educated guesses, and some weeks my guesses feel a little bit less bad than others. But I basically have make an educated guess. I have no clue what I'm doing here. Jags and Texans. Yeah, I mean, we all know about how, like, are the Jags going to try to win this? Are they not going to win this? I don't know. I think that we're probably, regardless of who wins or covers, we're looking at an under, right? There's no way that the Jags are going to, pull out the playbook and, try to run up the score. They might try to win this game, sure, but they're definitely going to try to get it over with as fast as possible, right? That's for sure. Texans playing better, and the defense is getting healthier. They got some young players and blah, blah, blah. Defense playing a little bit better, not a studly defense necessarily, but a fine defense. So you got a team that wants to, get this game over with, even if they do still want to win. They're not going to be flashy offensively. Texans defense playing pretty well. I think the under is a good way to go here.
Under 43 at -107. This total wasn't on my radar, but this makes sense that you're
just kind of sneak under. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know, Jim.
Interesting look. Under 43 -107. I'm gonna think on this one. Had not been thinking about that at all, but that breakdown makes sense. There's our guy Oliver Page, Lucky Lefty, says back in Delaware. Tata says hello to you, goats, the originators. We love you. And we love Tata Booker. I love you guys, and glad that you are safe and sound, feeling good in Delaware. Let's move on for you, Pistol Pete. Next up for you, New Orleans Saints, Philadelphia Eagles. These New Orleans Saints have been good to you. They've been good to you, and I have a feeling that you are going to be riding with them today. But let's hear what you have to say, Saints, Eagles.
Well, similarly, everyone's freaking out about the Hurts injury, and is there an overreaction? Is it not? I'm thinking that maybe the over is the way to go here, right? Minshew is a step down, but not necessarily a huge step down. I think they still have an okay offense. Now, there's a bunch of injuries on offense for the Saints as well, but I think that I'm more concerned about the Eagles defensively right now than I am about the injuries for the Saints. Again, not expecting a juggernaut offensive performance here from the Saints, but I think they're more likely than not to get over their team total, right? To get to 19 or 20 or something like that. Eagles with Minshew should put up a few, and then you got that guy, that asshole Jerome Bogart, who's the ref for the game. He loves to call defensive penalties, so that's probably going to help the over as well a little bit. And it's a relatively low total. And the reason that the total is dropped is because of Hurts and all that, so that makes sense. And I think, again, sneaks over a little bit maybe.
Interesting. So with your first under, the Houston under, the public all over the over on that. Public, 73% tickets, 73% of the cash. That's a really fascinating look there. With this under here.
Over.
Oh, sorry. With this over here, 70% of tickets are on the over, but just 53% of the cash. But now you're getting a 41.5 at -108 because of that. Huh. I'm interested. Another interesting look here from Pistol Pete Oloshak. Then, Pete, the Sunday nighter, which we'd love if you could join us for a little bit of this evening if you're available. We'd love it. Steelers, Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland. And I'm now heavily invested in this one before our live action. 71% of tickets, 79% of the cash on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going up against those people. What are you doing here? Pete, take it away. Steelers, Ravens.
Yeah, I might be on the wrong side here. You took the Ravens?
I did. Everybody's on the Steelers.
Yeah, I might have made the wrong call here.
You're with Bobano too, so you got lots of good company.
I took the Steelers, although I'd way more. I'd rather have them on a teaser, which I'm probably going to throw some on before kickoff. But yeah, I took the Steelers. I don't know, man. These games are always very, very close. I'd much rather be getting 3 than 2.5, as obviously. But I don't know. Their offense, I think, recently has been a bit better than maybe they're being given credit for, and the defense obviously is should still be pretty strong. But so I took the Steelers. I guess I'll give that as a play here. Although the more I think about it and look at it, the more this is one that I also took this one in the contest, and I'm starting to feel a little bit nervous. I'm also starting to feel nervous about my results this week in the contest because of all the arrogant jokes I made in the beginning of this segment. I hope I didn't jinx myself here. I hope I didn't jinx myself into a 1-4 week. I never know, but then again, maybe it's worth it because I love making jokes, but I don't know. I have them in the contest, and I took them, and basically thinking that their offense is a little bit undervalued. Over the past bunch of weeks, they've mostly been outgaining their opponents, and a lot of their drives are like relatively long, and they were kind of crappy offensively before the bye, and then after the bye they were doing better offensively. So maybe their offense is a little bit under the radar, better than the market is giving them credit for. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm starting to feel really nervous about this.
I spent a ton of time on this game and a ton of time last night and just going over their stats, because they're averaging their offenses looked much better. It's looked much better of late, but they're still averaging 17.5 points a game. And I started thinking that, you know what, Pickett sucks in the red zone. How about that? How about that? And when I started thinking that, I was like, I mean, I know he had that big touchdown to beat the Raiders, and I was like, look at how hard it took to beat the Raiders. And I was like, now they go into Baltimore when everything's on the line. And also, I've not seen one person on Baltimore.
Right.
So that was nothing where I was like, really, nobody? It's just everybody's going to be on this public dog. And so I doubled down last night, which.
No, overall, I'm not 100% sure about what I'm talking about. I've already jinxed myself for this week, and this is one of my, picks. So, if you just sort of thought it was a good play, then I wouldn't be concerned. But if you spent a lot of time looking into it, you remember, Jimmy the Bag, when we first started capping together and you would spend a lot of time looking at specific college basketball games, you killed it with them. So if I hear that you've actually spent a lot of time looking at something, that makes me nervous. Very nervous if I'm the opposite side of that.
Well, I'm so excited about this football game, and we're going to be here live betting it as well. But so 5.4 yards per snap the last 3 games Steelers offense has done, and they put up 17 points.
So is that a good sign or a bad sign? I thought it was a good sign, but
it's interesting because at that point you're thinking the make is undervalued, because if they had put up the points that you would expect from that yards per carry, then you wouldn't be. Look, I get it, and look, 4 games that Huntley's been in, they've averaged 11.5 points, and for me, with getting that information, I was like, you know what? I was thinking the same thing about the Ravens, sort of, that you were thinking about the Steelers. I was like, I know they can be better, and I know they can be better at home, and I know everything's on the line. But if you could join us, we would love that. Sure. So let's lock you in here. Because there's a lot of options. You want the +2 at -108?
Yeah, sure. But I definitely think that regardless of everything you said, I do still think the teaser for Steelers is good.
I agree. This is going to be so much fun. Join us tonight. Let's review Pistol Pete Loshak's action again, coming off a 4-0 week, and he's leading our Cappers contest, and he's spectacular. I believe you're 49, 27?
47 and 29, I think.
47 and 29.
Low 60s,
it's very impressive. So you have the under 43 at -107 in Jacksonville, Houston. Over 41.5 at -108 in New Orleans, Philly, and the Steelers +2 at -108. Pete, we love you. You can catch the Peter Loshak show here every Tuesday, and very soon I will be back on it, and I can't wait to be back on it. Just soon, maybe when the playoffs are here, I'll be able to do it. I bet you I will. So maybe I'll be back in just a couple weeks here. I hope to. Much love, Pete. Great work. Any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, I think I really jinxed myself in the contest this week, and so I don't know about these picks here, but I guess my last words are sure. Go ahead and tail the first 2 picks I made, but not the third one. Ignore that, or tail Jim.
I don't know. I love you, Pete. There he is, Pete Loshak, coming to us from Brooklyn. We go back up to Toronto for your next capper. 13 and 10 on the show, plus 3.0 units. Just a couple weeks back, he was having beers with the big Ragu at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, watching his boys play, or Brady, I should say, play. And he's here for us right now on the first day of 2023. Please welcome Spenny Pendergrast, Mr. Penny Bombs. How are you, my friend?
How we doing, Jimmy? How we doing?
Doing good, and we get right to work. This is perfect timing. Kyle77 comes in and goes, what are you thinking about the Commanders? No one has talked about this game yet, and it is an absolutely fascinating one. And this was another one that I moved on yesterday, and unfortunately for me, I'm on the other side of you on this one. Browns, Commanders, FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland, 58 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 miles per hour. Jadeveon Clowney, concussion and illness questionable. I don't know how important he really is. So if he can't go, Alex Wright will be there. And even if Clowney can go, I'm sure Wright's going to take 50% of those snaps. So now Chase Young will be back. He's going to be on a play count again. Brian Robertson will be the star of the show because Gibson is out. So Antonio Gibson out, foot, knee. Let's take a look at the line history. This is the first time we've talked about this spot, and it is a great one. here. We have Washington opening up at minus. Well, let's just actually go to the Pinnacle opener. So I'd say Pinnacle opening up there at minus 2.5, minus 106. They're minus 2.5 plus 105 at Pinnacle. So there's been still a nice juicy move to Cleveland. The Sharps are all over Cleveland. This total went from 39.5 to 41.5, which was a little surprising. And 59% of the tickets are on Washington, just 39% of the cash. And that's been the situation all week. 57% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the under, and it's moving to the over, which should concern under bettors. And look, I want Carson Wentz under center. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but I think they need a change here. And he's got a lot to prove. But I can understand people wanting to fade him. Take it away for us, Spenny. Browns, Commanders.
Yeah, like you said, I get it. Like some people want Wentz under center. I'm not one of those people. This is pretty much a full fade of Carson Wentz. I do not trust Carson. I don't trust anything that he does. I don't trust that he can get the team behind him to get the wins that he needs to, especially.
Oh, we lost him. We lost him. Internet issues here, but we know what he's on, and we know what he's doing. He's fading Carson Wentz, so he's doubling up. He's on the Browns money line at plus 111. So let's give him that Browns money line at plus 111, and he's also on the Browns plus the points. He's back next.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened there. I just cut it completely. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is a full fade of Carson Wentz. I just do not trust what he has done in Washington. I don't trust that he can get the team behind him. The Browns have been playing a little bit better. Deshaun's starting to look a little bit better. They still have their run game that's playing well. This line is definitely already moved in the Browns' favor. I already got it, earlier, but I'll take it whatever it's at here. I like the Browns on the spread. I like the Browns money line. I just, like I said, I'm not a fan of Carson Wentz, and I just do not think that he is going to get it done for Washington today.
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited about this game. Pinnacle's not moving it. So there's even some offshores that really are dice games that have moved it to 1. But the strong ones like Bookmaker Bet Chris have moved it to 1.5. Pinnacle still has a 2.5 at minus 116. You can Beautiful. Get a 2.5. You want the 2.5 minus 116?
Beautiful. And I like the money line too. So
yeah, the best we can give you is the plus 111 that Pinnacle is hanging. All right. And BJ says y'all in for a rude awakening betting on Wentz. We'll see. Look, it's not like we're sitting here going, he's been watching. I love it when a player, look, I'm not betting on him long term, but I like it when a guy sits and watches for 5 or 6 games and has his job taken from him. Now everything's on the line. LJ's on Cleveland, money line plus 110, says teams that play 49ers week before 0-12 next week fade Washington. So big one here. Browns have nothing to play for. Washington has everything to play for, but the Sharps are all over the Browns, and this could be awful for me. This is a fascinating look you have on the next one. Cardinals, Falcons. We've already talked about the line moving drastically towards Atlanta with David Blau under center. And you have a different look. There's our guy, Chris Drobny, in the house. Great to see you, Chris. Irani and Bergia. Take it away for us, Spenny. Cardinals, Falcons.
Yeah, I actually have an addition as well in this game. I was looking at adding James Conner over 21.5 receiving yards. I feel like, again, it's just going to be another spot where he's going to be a huge check down kind of guy, especially now that David Blau's in the game. I think James Conner is just going to be a big check down guy today. Something for Blau to easily target, get a couple of get the feel of the game, especially if he's feeling pressure. So I think Conner over 21.5 receiving yards as an addition. He's just he's going to be a big security blanket, I think, for Blau today.
I get that look. What's the juice associated with that one?
It was only minus 110 on that.
Minus 110. He's been very strong of late. So I completely understand the look here. Let me just pull up. I had it right here. Even last, I mean, he had dealt with a ton of injuries to start the year, and he's been very, very strong.
Yeah, he's healthy. He's playing. He's fighting through it, and he's been a big part of their offense the last couple of weeks.
He ran 15 times for 79 yards and a touchdown and caught 7 passes for 41 yards last week. So I get the look there. Conner over 21.5 receiving yards. Now you're also on a side, and it's a fascinating one. So
I just this is just too many points for a quarterback that is still unproven in the NFL and an Atlanta team, a Falcons team that is, as shady and as just inconsistent as they have been all year long. I know that Desmond Ridder has looked decent since coming in, but I don't know in what world that that the Falcons should be laying 6.5 points right now in this game. I get it. David Blau's in. It's not anybody exciting for the Cardinals, but Cardinals still got their offense going. If Blau can move the ball around a little bit, let Connor do his thing. The Falcons are not good on defense, especially against the run. They're letting up top 10 in the league fantasy-wise points to running backs, basically a touchdown per game to running backs. So again, like I said, James Conner's gonna have a big day today. As long as they can keep him fed and keep him going, keep the pressure off Blau a little bit. I think this is just too many points.
Let's lock that in for you. You have you can get the 6.5 at plus 105, or you can get the 7 at minus 116.
Let's take the 6.5. Screw it.
Let's get you that plus 6.5. Plus 6.5 at plus 105. Our guy Millsy saying bet MGM as the prop of the day. London over 4.5 receptions. Apologize for my kids out there. All right, Cardinals plus 6.5 and Connor over 21.5 receiving yards. Next up for you, we go to Panthers Buccaneers. This has been a very hotly discussed spot here, whether or not Brady can be trusted. Bobano says no, and Birdie says yes. What does Benny Pennybomb say?
Yeah, I'm with Birdie on this. I just I get it. I get it the way that Tampa played last week. How can you not take Carolina in this game? But Tampa's getting some players back. They're getting worse back today. Jensen's I don't believe is going to be back yet, but they're getting healthier. They're getting some people back on the offensive line. Wirfs is going to be a big piece for him to have just even a couple of extra seconds in that pocket to make some plays happen. This is a huge game for this division, and Tampa at home. I think they're going to come out firing right out of the gate, try and take this lead, and then try and see if they can get Fournette and Rachaad White going a little bit more in the run game in the second half. But I just think that this is a big spot for Tampa to get right and get their playoff contention settled up right now.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a big spot for them here. The last half hour or so, money coming in on the Panthers. We saw 3s at one point. We saw 4s even, and 3.5s. We thought it would stay, but right now it looks like it's moving towards the Panthers. So, the 3's still expensive. Okay, let me just see. I thought I might have been able to offer you a 3, and I can't. But you can get the minus 3.5 with no vig at plus 100.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll take that.
All right, Bucks minus 3.5 at plus 100. Next up for you here, and the final look on your card is the big Monday nighter. And Babano and Big Ragu and I will be on that show. And Ragu, last year's champion, who's up after Billy Brisbane, who's next. Ragu will be closing out the show, and he'll be closing on this game as well. So I'm looking forward because I'll be doing the live bet stream for it. Take it away for us. Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, well, the line has definitely moved. It's kind of been back and forth, a little bit of all around, bouncing around here. But I just love, I just love the way that the Bengals are playing football right now. It looks like this offensive line is starting to really come together. Really started to hold it down for Burrow in that pocket. Their offense is humming, but nobody's talking about their defense either. Their defense is playing lights out right now, making the stops when they need to, making big plays when they need to. I just think this Cincinnati team that's playing this well right now at home. I know how well the Bills are playing. The Bills are always going to be a tough competition, always going to be a tough game. But this is a Bengals spot for me. Bengals at home. I'm taking the money line here. I just think that they got too much weapons for the Buffalo Bills to handle on their offense, and I think that the Cincinnati can make the necessary stops that they need to on defense to get this win.
I love it. I'm afraid. I don't think I'm going to come in pregame. We can get you a plus 108. Right now, 44% of the tickets are on Buffalo and 80% of the cash. That makes me nervous. That makes me want to get in-game on the Bengals. And we've seen the Bengals fall behind at times. So I'm afraid to move against the Sharps, and I know a lot of people aren't, and I like it. I like that you're not. I think the Bengals are strong in this spot. And I can't wait to watch the game Monday night
Yeah,
right
it
here
should
on
be a
Pub
great
Sports
game.
Radio. Plus 108 for Spenny Penny Bombs. So Spenny, you have the Bengals money line plus 108. You have Bucks minus 3.5 at plus 100. Cards plus 6.5 at plus 105. James Conner over 21.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Browns money line at plus 111 and plus 2.5 at minus 116. So a lot of plus money spots there on the board for you. Spenny, we love you. We are going to the week in between the conference finals and the Super Bowl. We're going to do a big horse racing show, so we want you involved for that.
Love it.
But thank you for making the time for us, my man. And Starchild saying how much money on the over-under in that Bills game right now. 76% of the tickets are on the over and 50% of the cash. So clearly big bets coming in on that under. And that under has gone from, at Pinnacle, it's gone from 40. It hasn't moved. 5-cent move to the under. It hasn't moved off 49.5. So it doesn't. We'll keep a close eye on all that. Spenny, any last words for the Capper supporting the show, my guy?
Just appreciate everybody popping into the chat every single day. Love having you guys in here. And Happy New Year's. Let's get some cash today, boys.
Let's get some cash. There he is, Spenny Penny Bombs, Spenny Pendergrass. Let's move on to our next Capper, a man I love dearly, coming to us from South Jersey, 20-18 on the show, plus 1.91 units, currently ranked 6th out of 21 Cappers, just out of the top 5, and we expect glory from him as he's a hell of a Capper. Please welcome to the show, Billy Brisbane. Brizzy, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good, man. Ready to get into the new year and get the streak going.
Let's go. And you're able to join me tonight, are you, for the big Sunday nighter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. I love it. I love working with you. I look very much forward to it. I got a big bottle of Kraken ready to be tapped. Let's get to work here. Brizzy, you start with Cardinals, Falcons. And this one has a ton of moving parts with Blau being announced. And, of course, Ritter at quarterback. We wouldn't have thought it'd be a Blau versus Ritter situation just 3 short weeks ago. Take it away for us, Brizzy, your first spot on the board, Cards, Falcons.
Yeah, first spot on the board, a little bit juicy spot, but shouts to Millsy in the chat. We were talking about this one this morning. Atlanta's Drake London over 4.5 receptions, minus 155 at BetMGM. He's had 6 catches and 70-plus receiving yards with double-digit targets in each of his last 3 games, showing good report with Ritter with a 34% target market share. With a banged-up Cardinal secondary playing for nothing, I expect London to keep rolling here.
Oh, I like the look. He's been the only weapon or the only receiver that seems to have a connection with Ritter. 7 catches for 96 yards last week, and nobody else was even close to that. Like it was, like as you said, with the market share. 7 catches for 96 yards last week, and our guy Brizzy looking for over 4.5 receptions, minus 155. Move on to your next spot, Brizzy. Saints, Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Your Eagles in play. What's your move here?
Yeah, I like Dallas Goedert over 40.5 receiving yards, minus 110 at FanDuel Sportsbook. He came back from injury last week, played 94% of the snaps. On paper, this is a bad matchup. The Saints have been good at guarding tight ends, but digging deeper, I like the matchup for Goddard. Starting safety Marcus May is out, and reserve safety Justin Evans has been limited in practice this week. Goddard should be able to get pepper targets in the middle of the field. It only took him 3 catches last week to get the 67 yards, going over his receiving prop for the 7th time out of 10 games this season. So I'm confident Goddard can go over in this one too.
And what was it, 48.5?
40.5.
40.5. And what was the juice?
Minus 110.
Minus 110. You are locked in. I know you keep a very close eye on this Eagles team. Do you agree with the sharp action on the Saints? If you were forced right now, if I gave you a free $500 bet on the side at 5, who would it be, Eagles or Saints?
I think people are underestimating how big of a game this is for the Eagles. Last week, everybody thinks the division rivals, Dallas, was the big game. But to be honest with you, I think we're looking forward to this spot here. We're at home. It's a new year. The city's going to be buzzing. People have been drunk fucking parking lot partying since last night, New Year's. I think the Eagles are going to want to come show out here for this one. And plus, we got the draft pick. This is a big draft pick spot for us. If we can get this, we could probably get this each draft pick.
I love it. Goddard over 40.5 receiving yards, and does not agree with the slight move market-wise from a 6 to a 5 on the Saints, but looks like sharp action on them. Lattimore and Olave in. Let's move on to your next spot, and it's Dolphins Patriots, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. I can't wait to hear your plan for this one. 54 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13 miles per hour. Of course, Tagovailoa out, Tron Armstead out, Teddy Bridgewater in, and Marcus Jones, the only guy who we know could keep up with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, out. Take it away, Dolphins, Patriots.
Yeah, we're rolling with the guy here. Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions at -120 at BetMGM. There's not a big drop off between Bridgewater and Tua, to be honest with you. Regardless, Hill should be force fed the ball. He's cleared the line both with Bridgewater and Thompson. In 2 games with Teddy Bridgewater, he finished with 160 and 177 receiving yards on 22 receptions with 29 targets. And Belichick's secondary isn't the secondary that once used to be. A lot of these receivers have been able to burn the secondary. Hill had 8 catches in week 1. Diggs had 7 catches. Hopkins had 7 catches, but Colt McCoy, Jason Higgins had 8 each. And I think Tyreek Hill is going to go over pretty easily.
Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions at -120. Our guy Brizzy taking shots. 2 more games for Brizzy before we have Big Ragu closing this out. Headline in this bad boy. Brizzy, Bears, Lions is your next stop. Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Take it away.
Yeah, this is a big game here for Justin Fields. Over 75 rushing yards milestone at Bet365 at -120. Fields is 195 yards shy of Lamar Jackson's single season rushing record. With these 2 teams, they played in week 10. Fields ran for 147 yards and absolutely thrashed his defense. One of the highest over-unders of the week. I like Justin Fields to go over his rushing yard prop.
Over 75 rush yards, -120. Yeah, it was interesting watching him last week. It was 11 yards on 7 carries. He did not – it looked – and he was –
The dome should be able to help him out here.
Enormously. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Because he looked banged up, and he was letting us know he was banged up. But we know he wants to break the record. I mean, who knows if you'll ever get this opportunity again. And so I
can't imagine the paycheck that comes after this season.
I feel you. This looks good. 75 over 75 rush yards -120 available. Bet 365. Last spot on the board for Brizzy is Vikings Packers, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Just before that, BJ was asking here quickly. Says I said I would lock Jets Seahawks. How much is on Jets Seahawks cash wise right now? So we know that there's been a move towards the Jets. There's 34,776 tickets in, and the Jets are one of the 4 teams with full line value according to Sports Insights. The Saints, the Texans, the Bears, and the Jets. 59% of the tickets, 69% of cash on the Jets, and then 34% of the tickets, but 39% of the cash on the over. Let's head to Lambeau, where it's not freezing, where it's a balmy 37 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. And the big story with the Vikings is Bradbury resting, Ezra Cleveland in, Schlottman will be at center. And then for the Packers, Bakhtiari is in. Take it away for us, Brizzy, your last game on the board, Vikings, Packers.
Yeah, we're going to take Justin Jefferson over 99.5 receiving yards at Bet365 -130. Bet365 slipping on this one. Best market price for Justin Jefferson's receiving yards. Jefferson has gone over 98 plus receiving yards in 7 out of his last 9 games. And we're at the time of the year where we need to start following player incentives for contracts. And Jefferson's 244 yards away from 2,000 yards, and that's a big contract incentive. And he would get a nice little bonus in his back pocket for that one. So this should be a good spot here. Lambeau Field, division rivals, and the Packers secondary. Not too fond of it, but the books are saying the Packers are going to put enough points up on the board for this game to be competitive. So all aboard the Justin Jefferson train.
Over 99.5 receiving yards -130 was called out by Jair Alexander, and I'm sure that will help as well. Jair calling that first battle against the Packers a fluke. So, God, man, you don't want the wrong guy to push, man. All right, so we have, and then Saturated says, can anyone confirm if Christian Watson is in or out? No at this point, but he practiced for the first time this week. So he's saying he's getting better. Of course, he missed the second half of the win on Sunday. So I would expect him to be in. I would expect him to be in, but I don't have the confirmation. Oh, Arthur Mead saying Watson's out for the year. Is that facts?
I think so. I think it's going to be Dobbs and
Jesus, how would I be that off on my notes?
I bet I get money says, what about his receptions over? I think he's talking about Justin Jefferson. With Justin Jefferson, he's so good with the yards after the catch that you might be able to get it without I think the yards hit before the receptions hit.
I don't have Watson out for the year anywhere. So I have this came out 2 hours ago. It says
and then
he's
Jose saying he's not out yet. I haven't finished.
True game time decision, not a nagging hip injury. So he's not out for the year unless you know something we don't. So Jose saying he's not out. Okay, so yeah. But if you know something, if something has come out in the last 2 hours, can you let us know, Arthur? Because he looks good to go everywhere. All right, so to review, our guy Billy Brisbane on Jefferson over 99.5 receiving yards, Fields over 75 rush yards, Hill over 5.5 receptions at -120, Goddard over 40.5 receiving yards, -110, and London over 4.5 receptions, -155. Brizzy, thank you for making the time for us, my friend. And I can't wait to hang with you this evening for the live bet stream. I can't wait for Ravens.
Let's go Ravens, baby. I'm
Ravens.
riding with you, man.
Ravens riding. Okay. Oh God, I'm so pumped. I love it. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Yeah, make sure you tune in tonight, man. We're gonna be going ham on the live stream. It's gonna be one of those streams where we're taking shots for every first down for the Ravens.
I can't wait. I'm really excited about it. There's our guy, Billy Brisbane in the house. Great guy, great capper. Check out his show alongside Sharpie every Friday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. The good, the bad, and the money. Big Show Picks produces that and adds action to it. All right, let's bring on last year's champion, currently in second place here. 29 wins, 21 losses, plus 5.76 units. He joined us week 13, 14, and 15, and he won each of those weeks in the black, each of those weeks, and ready to rock. So, and also, Rigu, our guy, sometimes, he talks about not feeling as confident in the first week or two of the season. So, since the first couple weeks, he has been on our show 7 times, and he's been in the black 6 of them. God, he's good. He's so good. And he's closing up our show right now, coming to us from Ocala, Florida, last year's champion of NFL Pop-Up. Please welcome to the show, the Big Ragu. How are you?
Happy New Year, everybody. How you doing, James?
I'm doing great, man. You always put a smile on my face. I love capping with you, my friend. And Big Ragu will be joining Bobano and myself tomorrow night for the big Bills Bengals live bet stream. Ragu, let's get to work. There's a lot of cappers who were saying that they were waiting on Ragu's action.
Yeah, I got a clean slate. I'm working from upstairs today. No notes, just upstairs. So let's do this shit.
All right. That's all you need. That's all.
I know 40 plus years. I better know something.
I love it. All right. Thank you, Chip Pilar, my friend. Let's get to work. Carolina, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have J.C. Horn out of the lineup, as we spoke about. There's been late movement here in the last hour towards the Panthers. They got the early movement and a late movement. In between, the Buccaneers got up to -4. But right now, the plus 3.5 is starting to get quite juiced for the Panthers. They're hesitant to move it back to 3 because I bet you they got hammered there. Take it away for us here, Ragu. Panthers, Buccaneers.
Yeah, it feels like a Panther spot for sure with all the stuff that's going on in Tampa. Like, I've been pretty good with Tampa unders, 4-8 to the under. They've been, especially like the first half. I think I got clipped one time on a late play to catch an over, but I've got to go back to it. I got to go back to what's made me money. I'm gonna hit the Tampa struggles on the offense. Yeah, we got some pieces coming back, and Carolina is definitely going to have to put the ball up through the air to beat these guys. And it's a big game. Tampa wins and they're in, and that's the bottom line here. So, we've seen Tampa when we thought they've gotten right, off a good game, and take a step forward, they take 2 back. So I think this is one of them places where they get to take that step forward and kind of finish out the season to secure their playoff spot. So I'm going to be on the Tampa Bay defense to slow down Carolina early on. Both teams will start slow as usual, and I think we get a first half under here. So I like I think it's either 19.5 or 20, depending on where you get it. and I'm also going to be on the Bucs full game.
Ooh, I love it. I've moved on the first half under already and being quite nervous with the under with the 19.5. I got it minus 105. It quickly went to plus 100, and now there are 20s. I heard of 20.5s, but I haven't actually seen any. I can get you an under 20 at minus 103, which means that I could probably see what Pinnacle's offering the 20.5. It'd be nice to get over that 20.5. If I could get the 20.5, like I would really move on it, probably more than a unit. Let's see what the first half is here, though. The 20.5, I can get you. Oh, it's pretty expensive. I can get you under 20 at minus 103, under 20.5 at minus 125.
Yeah, let's stick with the 103.
Okay, under 20 at minus 103. My worst nightmare, of course, will be that it lands on the 20.
Yeah,
But I agree with the spot. I agree with it. And you have Buccaneers full game. Let's move over to the point spread full game for.
I think I'm going to be chasing some crooked numbers today too. Coming in late, so I just got that feeling. But anyways, we'll make it work out to our benefit. However, we got to do it.
That 3.5 is at even money. Did you want to look into what it would cost to get the Bucs at 3?
What is that? Just for shits and giggles. What's
Let's take
the
a look here right now? If you wanted to buy the 3 here, and let's move over. Oh, sorry, shoot. Let me just move this over here. How much?
I usually like buying off of 3, not into it, but we shall see because it gets pretty expensive.
It does. The 3. Oh, I thought it'd be at least minus 120. It's minus 124.
You know what? Let's do that. Okay. I know it's going to put my average line number down, but that's okay. Let's buy onto the 3s because 3s are a hard number to crack either way you go. So I usually like buying off 3, but let's buy into it this time.
You got it. Bucks minus 3 at minus 124. First half under 20 at minus 103. Next up for you, Raghu, you head to Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas for Jaguars Texans. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. This has been widely debated.
Well, Lovie Smith's got to do his fucking job and lay down here so the Jags get into the playoffs, without question. But, Lovie Smith's not the smartest guy in the world sometimes. I like his coaching style, but sometimes he's a head scratcher. But in this spot here, I heard a lot of guys talk about, a lot of guys I respect, like Birdie and others, it's just got to be a Jag spot. It has to be almost. If you go back in history with this series, I mean, Houston has owned this team. But, there's been some pretty bad Jags teams over the year. And I think Peterson is the right guy in the right spot for this Jags team right now. And I think, he's got the right mindset to keep these young team. They got a good offensive line. They got a good defensive line. When they play together, when they play smart, with the right play calling, they have some success. They can put points up. I was leaning under here also. I think it's going to be a tighter game. I don't think it's going to be a game that's going to be a major type blowout margin game, but it can get away, if depending on what, Smith and how he coaches the game. But I know Jacksonville's going to be in it to win it. So I got to take a team that's got a lot to play for. And I'm gonna be on the side of the Jags here, even though maybe the number was a little rich early on. Now it's getting into a territory where I kind of like to get involved, and I think I'm gonna look at the first half also on the Jaguars. So I'm gonna double up on the Jags here. We'll take a first half and the full game.
And Pete moved on the under in this, and there's money coming in on the over now. Like Pete got 43. There's a 44 on the board now, 43.5 as well. So. I was thinking of moving on it with him. That late move towards the over might keep me.
I mean, I think that's a sharp look, the under.
Yeah, it's a. Yeah, I'm gonna. God, we only have 16 minutes before decisions need to be made there.
Yeah, well, just put me on the Jags full game in first half.
You got it. So I can get you the 2.5 first half of minus 115. That's at bet 365, and that's the best available. There's concern the books are showing on that first half. A lot of juice 2.5s heavy and not moving to 3. Minus 3.5 full game at minus 104 for you. All right, let's move on. We got the big Raghu, last year's champion, and currently is being in the black 6 of his last 7 weeks on the show, in second place out of 21 cappers. Next up for you, and I can't wait to hear you talk about this one, Vikings, Packers, Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is the afternoon action. We're all ears. Raghu, take it away.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing. Green Bay's defense is playing a lot better right now. They get Bakhtiari back. Maybe him and what's his name? Rodgers is going to go slam a couple beers after the game. But Minnesota, they're apt to put points up without doubt. So what's going to be the answer here? Is it going to be the Minnesota offense is going to be able to score up on their defense, or are they going to lack a little bit of offense, which Minnesota's defense can help out? So I kind of like the over here. I'm going to be on the over. I think there's going to be points both ways. I know Ian liked that spot too. Initially, I was thinking, let me take Green Bay because I think it's a must-win game. But just because it has to be a must-win game doesn't mean they're going to win. But I think there will be points here. So my play here is look for over the total here. I think they get it both ways.
It's moving now back to the over. This we got up to 48.5, came back to 47.5. Now we see 48s on the board again, but we can get you that 47.5 at minus 108. I expect 48s at kickoff at a minimum, maybe even 48.5. Money coming in on the over 48 minus one. Oh, sorry, over 47.5. Excuse me, over one. Minus 108. And again, back to the cash on this one. We have 64% of the tickets, 60% of the cash on that over. 45,777 tickets in. All right, fine. No, we have because you get the Monday nighter with us too. Beautiful. Next up for you is the Battle of Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. Rams, Chargers, afternoon action for the Big Ragu. Take it away.
Yeah, no home field for advantage either team here. Obviously, I was going to say, if you look at Chargers numbers or the Rams numbers, they play better at home, than on the road. Start out early because they were Super Bowl champs. A lot of numbers in the minus category. Then, dog roll. So in the dog roll, they've covered like the last 5 out of 6, I want to say, or 4 out of 5, however that works out. But Baker's playing for a job. I think he fits well with McVay. He's kind of got the locker room, what's left the pieces wise to kind of put their hearts onto the field. I know an aberration maybe with that Denver game, where they scored all them points. So be it. But I think they're a live dog here for a backdoor cover. So, no big advantage for the Chargers playing at home either. So I think it's going to be one of those games where, it's going to be kind of like even if the Chargers are up by 2 scores, late game, Mayfield Magic, he's got it reignited. Maybe Ian said he's coming back down to earth, but I still think, better than that 6-point spot here. I like it a lot. So, give me the Rams as a dog here. I like it. Live dog, Rams.
Do you want the 6 at plus 105 or the 6.5 at minus 110?
Oh, give me the 6.5.
All right.
A missed extra point. Who knows what happens?
Yeah. No, I get it. Minus 110 Rams, Chargers. And then we have the Monday nighter in a live bet stream that Ragu will be starring in. Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, 59 Fahrenheit showers, 6 miles per hour. Jordan Poyer questionable for the Bills, and then Lyle Collins out for the Bengals. They do have some backups with some potential, and we'll break down this game more obviously tomorrow. And then we already heard from Spenny Pennybombs on the Bengals.
Yeah.
And Sam Hubbard is questionable. Defensive end Sam Hubbard questionable. Take it away here for us, Ragu, our last game of Pub Hub, and then we will go over everyone's action. Bills, Bengals.
So basically, I think Spenny hit it right on the head. Cincinnati, I think they won like last 7, Buffalo 6. But Buffalo's has some vulnerabilities. And I know anytime that Allen has the ball last, usually the outcome with him is he usually pushes it across the goal line or sets up a field goal. So that's the only thing that worries me a little bit. But he's been vulnerable. He's had some red zone errors. Cincinnati, I think, is a better team coming into the game right now. And I think they couldn't have wrote a better script to kind of set the playoff scenarios up. With the win, Cincinnati gets the become the king of the North. So both teams are going to leave it all on the field. But I think Cincinnati's got a little more of an edge here in that spot, a little bit more momentum. Their defense is playing better. They're top 5 D, even though they might have some vulnerabilities in the secondary. They kind of tightened some things up. Anarumo's got these guys playing right where they need to be in December. So momentum-wise, give me the Bengals, give me the Cats. I'll take them on the money line.
I love it. I love it. That's a good question we can ask everybody here in a second, but let's review Ragu's action here.
One more thing, I got to give you I got to close it with a teaser, right?
The teaser, you've been killing these teasers. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right,
I got to come back with a teaser spot here. So I know a lot of people are on the I don't like chasing public dogs, but I know a lot of people are on it, and it's going to be a tight game, I think. I think the Ravens are the right size, but I don't think they can cover the teaser number. So I heard Ian talk about that too. That was a game I was on early. Was Pittsburgh and a tease. I'll take them on the +6, whatever the best number you can get me there. Also, and then you know what? I'm going to go after as much as you haven't heard the Browns come off my lips too much this year, but I like the Browns in the teaser here too. I think the close number there, I think it goes their way. You know, Wentz coming off the bench, and I think Chubb, I think Watson's getting a little bit better, so I think the game plays a little closer. For teaser purposes, I love it. Give me the Browns and the Steelers in the tease.
Steelers +8, Browns +7.5 available right now for teaser action. Sharps on the Browns, all the Browns, and then I guess the Sharps are on the Steelers as well. It's tricky. They must be if it's going down to 1.5. Right now, 70% of the tickets, 79% of the cash on the Steelers. Wild because it was at 2.5. I got it at -2. It went to 2.5, and I was like, yes. And now it's down to 1.5, making me nervous. Let's review our guy Ragu's action. Steelers +8, Browns +7.5, Bengals money line +108, Rams +6.5, -110, over 47.5 in Vikings, Packers, and Jaguars first half -2.5, and full game -3.5. Oh, and of course, Bucks -3, -124 in the first half, under 20 at -103. Ragu, love working with you. Can't wait to hammer a few drinks back and enjoy the Monday nighter. And we're all just better because we get to cap with you. So thank you for taking the time to roll with us.
Pleasure.
And 6 of his last 7 weeks here, he's been in the black. Ragu, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, a healthy new year, a profitable new year, and let's get this cash, baby.
I love it. There he is, the Big Ragu. Follow him on Twitter at Big Ragu62. All right, 8 minutes to kick off, and I'm not adding anything. I'm pretty excited and comfortable with my positions here, and I'm not adding anything. That's my action there. Jose's got it up. Miami, New England under 42. Patriots -2.5. Giants -5. Carolina, Tampa first half under 19.5. San Francisco, Las Vegas Raiders over 44.5. Obviously, that was a mistake, but I would take the under if I could get it now at 41 or 41.5. Then Jets, Seattle under 42, Vikings +3.5, Vikings team total over 21.5 at -115, Commanders -2, and Ravens -2. Ravens -2. So let's just do, let me get this guy out of here. Let's review all action. So Bobano got us started. He's on the over 52.5 at -107 in Chicago, Detroit. I'd love to see what that is at right now and if that has changed at all as we are 7 minutes away from kickoff. Has that changed? It's now over 52.5 at -101. So Pinnacle has been moving that away. So that means that there has been a 19-cent move towards the under. Look, I can understand that anybody would want to move on the over in this one, but and I was thinking about it all week. I'm not going to. He's on the Dolphins +3. We're going heads up there. You got that -115. He's on the Panthers +3.5, -108. 49ers -9. He's on the over 41 in Niners Raiders. He's on the over 47.5 in Vikings Packers, and that was a move that our Big Ragu also is on. He's on the Chargers -6 in the over 41 in Rams Chargers, and he's on the Steelers +2.5, another spot where we're going heads up, and it looks like the market agreeing with him. And he's also on the Giants -5.5. That was his addition. Our guy Birdie was on second, Dolphins +3 at -110, and Bridgewater over 6.5 rush yards at -. Oh, and that was found at 5.5 by Dan Kelly, and I forgot to change that. Thank you for doing that, Dan Kelly, looking out for our cappers who are giving out only lines that are available when we're talking about the game. Colts, Giants. He was going to move on the Giants by the spread, but got some cold feet, still using it as a parlay piece. So on Jaguars -3.5, -105. Rams +6.5, -108. The parlay piece he's got is Bucks moneyline, Falcons moneyline at +104. He's on the Eagles moneyline, Vikings +3 at +163. And wow, you're right. I guess now that I'm realizing this, he didn't end up using the Giants as a money line piece, even though that's something that he wanted to do. But he did not do that because his 3-team money line spot. Let me just make sure that I've got this right here. It's too important here. I believe, yes, I have it right. So it is Rams +6.5, the Jags -3, and the Bucks money line. So that parlay that he does, the 3-game parlay, Panthers plus 6.5, Jags minus 3.5, Bucks money line 463, and Panthers team total under 16.5 at plus 105 was an addition. All right, so then Pistol Pete Loshak coming off a 4-0 weekend. He's been 47-29 on our Cappers contest, leading the way. He's on the under 43 in Jacksonville, Houston, the over 41.5 in New Orleans, Philadelphia, and he's on the Steelers plus 2 at minus 108. Spenny Pendergrass, Browns money line plus 111 and plus 2.5 at minus 116. He's on the Cards plus 6.5 at plus 105. And Connor over 21.5 receiving yards minus 110. Bucks minus 3.5 at plus 100. Jose, do we have our cappers here going directly from this show to the Pub Zone? Do we have that? Beautiful, great work. What a job Jose does. Always just doing a great job. Always accountable for everything here, and I love it. Bucks minus 3.5 at plus 100, and Cincinnati money line at plus 108. Then Brizzy is on London over 4.5 receptions minus 155. Goddard over 40.5 receiving yards minus 110. Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions at minus 120, and Justin Fields over 75 rush yards minus 120. And he closes it up with Jefferson over 99.5 receiving yards minus 130. He's got 5 spots on the board. And then you heard the big Raguse action just seconds ago. Man, 2023 is here. Ooh.
What the fuck, guys? Everyone fucking talks about every game besides the fucking Jets game. What fucking disrespect is that? Just spit all over the Jets, who are going to beat the dog shit out of the fucking Seahawks today. Jets win. Jets cover, Mike White's back, and so are the Jets.
I laughed when the game didn't come up. I did laugh. Curtis Barris is off to the casino. Good luck, everyone. Get that cash, Curtis, my man. Respect, enjoy it. I'm just so thankful. I'm so excited about 2023. So thankful to be here at Pub Sports Radio. I love working for Jeff Slaughter. I mean, he's just the best. And all my colleagues and the cappers in the chat, this is where I want to be. And I'm just so thankful to be here with all you guys. I just very thankful, very honored. And live bet stream tonight. It's, that's my Friday night. I stayed in New Year's with the family. We had a great time with the family, lots of laughs, but knowing that I get to hang with you guys, have some drinks for a big football game tonight was like, oh man, that's gonna be fun. Thank you all. Justin McElvey, Jordan Nordman, Topset, Harold Williams, McElvey. I'll be thinking about us battling in Steelers Ravens. I hope you can jump in our chat for that one. Fat Wally, Topset, Saturated, Bo Jackson, Chip Plylar, Clint Starr, the Diehard MMA podcast, Noli Knows, Real Deal Prime, Terry Walker, Chris Brady, Curtis Berry, AOD, Brooklyn Funk Project, Gerald Jones, BJ, Rocco Rogers, Blitzer Bobby. What a great group. Craig Wood, Boogie Main, Top Set, Big Show, Man Bear Pig. I just love this. Love the opportunity to run with you guys. Alex Hills, the Nuke Worker, Lucas Ryan. Let's go out there and get that cash. I love the show that follows this. You'll be headed right there. It pops off in 1 minute. Pub Zone. It's hosted by our man, Sharpie. So jump over there and get that money, and we'll catch you guys tonight in the driving rain for Ravens Steelers. God, I can't fucking wait. And big thank you to the producer of this show who does such a great job, Jose Bouquet. Look, it's amazing. The guy, he'll drive 18 hours to make sure he can produce these shows. I don't even need to ask, are you available on January 1st after New Year's Eve? I just know he's going to be there. So thank you, Jose, for all that you do for us and all the hard work that you put in. Let's go out there and get that cash. There's Jeff Slaughter. Happy New Year's, fellas. Let's get that cash. Week 17 awaits. Let's fucking go.